Hello, hello. Can you hear me all right? I checked the other day, the audio was a little bit too loud. How is it going, everyone? Okay, nice that I see a lot of people every time more. And I saw that Blender is live today at the same time. So you can have Blender today and Godot tomorrow at the same time if you visit both channels at the same time. All right. So we do have today a little bit more more prepared the titles a little bit of now an overview of what we're gonna be reviewing today. So yeah, the TV behind actually broke, unfortunately. I tried it to turn it on before the stream. It's like, okay, last time I forgot to give play. Yeah, it's just not working. So if it's too distracting, I can turn it off. Um, Hola, saludos, chico. Okay. Where is Juan? Haven't seen anything from him in a while. Well, he's very active in many places, but not in social media. So if you're only checking in social media, you might not find him. But yeah. Yeah, I will turn it off. Rest in peace. Okay, now you can see the back of my head on the reflection, which is like behind the scenes. Uh, I might need to buy a new adapter for the HDMI and all that. Okay, let's jump into it. It's a Blender TV. Yes, I do have the Blender sticker there, and like Koira, like I do get a lot of stickers. Well, many conferences where I don't know where to put them, so I put them all there on the TV. Right, quite nice. Okay. Um. Oh yeah, since I don't follow up on the next Godot conferences, do you know when is the next one coming? Well, there is one conference. Let's go into it, and I can go a little bit. Let's see. So for conferences, we do have here on our website events. You can check when the events are happening and all that. The next one is in November, the 11th and 12th in Munich, which is called Godot Fest. And yeah, that's all the information. They launched a new website, which is quite cool. But yeah, let's go to the topics of today. First of all, I wanted to remind everyone that the submissions are still open for Godot for the showreel. There has been already like 121 submissions so far, which it's a lot. But don't get discouraged. A lot of them have games that are in progress. Some more advanced, some little progress has been made. So competition is still okay, I feel. Every time that we open these submissions, we do get a lot of submissions at the beginning and a lot at the end. So it doesn't matter later because we're going to be voting on random order. But still, there's still enough time. The deadline happens on October 1st. We close the submission, so you still have 1 month to submit. And yeah, usually I have these videos on the background, but not today. Okay. We get a question from Gamma Games. Have you guys thought about running a Steam Fest for games made in Godot? Yes, this is a conversation that happened twice already with different people. Which is usually not the case that the game engine would set up like a Steam Fest, but it would be nice to have the show reel together with a Steam Fest, or like the GodotCon together with a Steam Fest. But it's just we need someone that can manage all that aspect of it, and not only having enough games to showcase, which there are, but also having like the proper coordination so that it's not an event that nobody cares about. But we are thinking about the best way of doing it. So yeah. So we covered the events, and now about Godot 4.5. So as you've seen, like a few days ago, we released the beta 7, we were not thinking about doing this, but it was really necessary. We need to make sure that, as it says here in the first paragraph, like we add the reason. We know people scroll really, really fast and don't read anything and go to the downloads, but still, it's really nice to read what things are going on. And there were, the debug symbols for Android. We needed to make sure that everything was working properly, and otherwise it would have been a release candidate. So in this release cycle, I talked with the release team and they told me that they don't want to do too many release candidates, ideally maybe one, and then the official release. And if there's any big regression, we're going to do 2 release candidates. So you can expect Godot 4.5 going live in 2 weeks, maybe, maximum. So yeah, I wanted to cover this, especially because it's very interesting to see that people really try the first dev build that we send. So whenever we start a new version, not the showcase here on the blog, when we start with a new version, the pre-releases, so this would be the dev 1, which is here. It's already on March. It's been on dev for a long time. Dev 1 usually gets a lot of people trying it out, but it's still very buggy, and there's still things getting added, so not as exciting. And then the other release, Dev 2, Dev 3, Dev 4, 5, they do get less and less and less testing. And then as soon as we send beta 1, then we see another spike of people testing it out, because especially most people that are interested in knowing what will happen, they know that in that version everything will be there. So we do get more testing there, but the more betas we release, I feel like I see the less and less interest, and the release candidate is the biggest spike, like when people actually saying like, this could be the release already, so we're going to use it. So we didn't want to miss our chance and release a release candidate knowing that there were some things, that could be fixed even in the future. So we hold off a little bit, beta 7, and as I said, maybe in 1-2 weeks we can have 4.5. So yeah, let's see. Is an incumbent version looking to have stair-stepping support for character 3D? Surprisingly, that something as common as that isn't implemented yet. So I don't know of anyone working on anything like that. I know there is one user in particular that has been doing a lot of work into making, plugins and things like that for fixing those missing issues. But for character 3D, I'm not entirely sure. And updates to GD extension, I will cover all the updates the day of the release. But for now, I'm gonna keep moving forward. I don't think that there's any breaking change in the GD extensions. That should be as stable as always. If we break compatibility, we will add everywhere, and there's a lot of plugins that really depend on it. So no. Okay, we have a plugin that adds stair support to the attached characters, but I think that proper implementation of C++ should be made instead. Yeah, I mean, if there is a proposal about it would be nice to know. Again, there's a user called Yosari Freeman who usually posts on Mastodon, and he goes over many of those sort of features. Oh, what happened here? Many of those features that people making first-person shooters want, and I think he might know about it. But yeah. Is there any telemetry built into release candidates so you can get metrics on stuff like crash automatically, like rate crashes automatically? No, there is no telemetry. The only telemetry we do have is we know how many people download it, because that happens on GitHub, whether we like it or not. They track the downloads. But other than that, we also can monitor the amount of bugs that people report and the number, like the versions that they add. But there isn't any automatic analytics on it. But talking about analytics, we do have analytics on our website. We added that like less than a year ago, and it has been very interesting to see. I still want to expose this and make it public for everybody, but for now, like, you kind of need to log in through our system. So we need to make a place where to add it. but I wanted to show just a little bit of, last 30 days, in terms of like which are the most visited pages, where are people coming from, because like on the talk I gave on the GodotCon in Boston, I mentioned that China was the second biggest country visiting. Is like really really huge, and we now see it even here on the top pages. Like this is the homepage in Chinese. Sorry, let me here. So this gets opened automatically if your browser is set to prefer Chinese or whatever language. But then I noticed that Brazil is the third one. I know we do have a lot of Brazilian users, but we still don't have the website in Portuguese. So I think that's something that we should do. And if you're interested to contribute the translation, I would be happy to review it and to get it there. More than Germany, yes, Brazil is huge, and also like they do have a lot of users in the Android version as well. It's huge, and it's a bit misleading with Spanish. Actually, Spanish is the third biggest country. If you check here, like on the homepage, ES is the third one, but that's because of how many countries there are that are speaking Spanish, and they get counted differently. So we do have like Spain, Mexico, Argentina, like Chile. We have so many. So yeah, it would be nice to get them sorted by country, but by language, sorry. But that's the closest we can have, which is which pages get visited the most. And we can see here like Chinese here, Spanish here, and German, then French. But yeah, then we have other countries that we just don't have the languages to. But yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Also, was kind of surprised to see how many people are coming from ChatGPT to the website, which is weird. I guess people are asking stuff about Godot and they get sent our way. I don't know. It's just a new development. And then like this is very like false. DuckDuckGo being also one of the most popular after Google and Bing. It's quite common. But yeah. Any news about the asset store? I will go a little bit about the asset store, but yeah. So again, I think this is always very interesting to see. And yeah, I do wonder if some things we're not tracking properly. A lot of our users are using ad blocks, myself included. Like I don't browse the web without an ad block, and most of ad blocks do kind of like automatically block this sort of tracking. So the data we have here, it's what it is. So yeah. Okay. So I wanted to go over the Node letter, which is the newsletter we send monthly, if we can send it monthly. I'm gonna leave a link here to the archive in the chat if you want to open the links, so I don't have to be linking everything. But you can subscribe via RSS or subscribe on the form that we have here. You would receive news that we curate every month about what we are doing on the foundation, what the community is doing, and events and other special things. And I wanted to go just a little bit to show you a little bit of what is the kind of content that we add here. And also, this is the first time we had some people external contributing. Last time I did a stream, like I think on the first stream, I asked some people to help out, and we had 2 users contributing this time, Kai Kolher and Winner Wind, who found very nice links, and we put it together. Okay, so on Foundation News, on these sections, we add all the blog posts that we are adding. So if you don't want to be up to date with everything, checking the website, you can check from here, which we added the beta 7, which we talked about, the submissions for the showreel, that I already mentioned that you should actually send your videos whenever as possible, as soon as possible. And the JetBrains sponsorship, I don't think we talked about it, but this has been super good. Like we had this sponsorship happening. JetBrains has been making, like support, especially for C Sharp. If you want to work in Godot, we don't have like a proper built-in editor. So JetBrains has right there that, you can use. And now they also added support for GDScript. And it's great when companies like this are sponsoring us, because this is what keeps us being able to work on Godot. So huge thanks to them for the donation. Then there was an interview that we did with the team from Blender, who are doing every month, not like every few months. I don't know exactly the cadence, but they are doing smaller projects now. And the first one they did was this one, which is a game made in Godot and Blender by the Blender Studio team. And we did an interview, and they went over a little bit of what the challenges were, how it was working on a game for the first time. For the first time in a long time. They did work on a game before, but yeah, it's really interesting. Then the community poll results, we covered that in last stream. If you want to check Godot Tomorrow number 2, that we went a little bit over those numbers. The Godot OpenXR vendors plugins v4, which is a bit older news. This is from July. This is not from August, but we didn't send any newsletter on July, so it had to come in here. Which, if you are doing any VR work, you should probably be aware of this one. But there was a bunch of updates and also new things that are coming in the future. Hybrid apps is something that a lot of people was interested in, which means basically having a 3D environment with also 2D panels that you can interact with. And a lot of companies are interested in building these sorts of apps. So for instance, if you're watching YouTube, you could be watching YouTube in just like a plane where it's basically like the browser, or you can have different windows and interact with the window itself, and have maybe the comments from the chat somewhere else. So all those hybrid apps are needing some sort of engine to work, and some of them are picking Godot, and they really like it. So if we can see more hybrid apps happening, I think this will be great. But yeah, does this lead to web development eventually? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'm in between the conversations. But yeah. Unfortunately, you have to pay for JetBrains to be able to profile C# in Rider. It's possible to get it for less money for Godot users. Otherwise, C# users are not able to profile. If you're using it for educational purposes, you should be able to use it for free. So if you're making, like, for non-profit purposes, I think, if you're making a game for a game jam that you don't planning on selling, or if you're trying it out, if you're learning how to use it, you should be able to use it, no problem. But if you want to make a game and then sell it, then you have to pay for the license. But yeah, that's all I can say about that. And the playlist about the videos for GodotCon, that already I covered. There's a lot of videos here. So yeah. Anyways, I was gonna say is that Tesla uses Godot. Yeah, I think they use Godot, but they used it in the past. I'm not sure if that's still happening. Like, at least I haven't heard from anyone at Tesla about them using it. And I think it was Godot 3. But I have no idea into that. Okay, community showcase and tutorials. So this was very big at the time, but the GMTK Game Jam from GameMaker Toolkit was finished, and it had 9,606 games. That's just way too many. And he shared this graph, which it's really, really interesting, in which it shows the amount of games made in which engine. And this year we are very, very close to overtaking Unity in the amount of games that were made. And this graph helps us a lot whenever we are talking with people about the size of our community. And we know that Godot is being a little bit overrepresented in game jams at the moment, but still, this usually means that the future, like all those people that are making these sort of games, will continue making games, and those games might eventually be successful. And we are seeing this more and more with each month passing. There's more and more games on Steam that are on top of the charts. So I think the trend will continue like so. And a lot of people are really interested in knowing why Unreal is only 4%. But I think that using such a big engine for making games, it's maybe an overkill. But I'm pretty positive that maybe next year we're gonna have more Godot games. Which I also think that it's important that those games are winning the competitions, like not only having like a lot of games in there. And that's why I'm happy to see that actually one of the games that we featured was one of the winners, which is Draftula. And this also kind of challenged my belief, because I always thought that for being very successful in a game jam you need to have the web game, but this game, since it's built with C#, it doesn't have the web export version of it. So people liked it enough that they had to download it, try it out, and score it, which is quite good. And I was not able to play it yet, but yeah, seems very interesting. So yeah, this is a game made in Godot 4 and C#. But yeah, let's continue over the news. Okay, the Battlefield's portal using Godot. This one was also interesting to see. In the Battlefield stream, like they showed how they were using like in Portal, which is like a development toolkit for making custom game modes for Battlefield on that. Like instead of shipping like an editor that you have to use things with it, they sent this Godot version with maps to edit from Godot. Is EA a patron of Godot? It is not. Trying to get in touch with them. A lot of people send me like, hey, I know someone that knows someone that works there, or I worked there, and I worked there before, or things like that. But I was not able to convince them yet to donate. I think they will eventually, but not yet. But they should. That they should for sure. But anyway, it was quite funny. I didn't want to blast people about it, but I saw some videos about people speculating about the features of this, and it was quite interesting to see how they imagine Godot to be. But yeah, we'll see still if they're gonna ship a custom version of Godot, because of all the screenshots they show so far, it's basically Godot with some plugins. Like I don't think that they're shipping a different version of it, but we'll see. Okay. So I will keep you posted with this one. I really don't know what will happen in the future with Portal. On one side, I don't play Battlefield, so I wasn't too motivated about it, but I know a lot of people like it, and would be nice that they eventually donate. Okay. Procedural stained glass. Okay, so this devlog was really nice. Rachel F. Tech, she always does very good videos about Godot, and she shows the progress. And it's been great. Like the entire process is quite a long video. It's half an hour, like, quite technical sometimes. But the results are amazing. And she was able to modify Godot itself to be able to have different capabilities that are not out of the box. And I think that that's something that I like that people showcase, and that's why I chose it to be one of the featured videos, because people only think about Godot in terms of like you can download it and you can use it and that's it. But in reality, if you really need to change something else, you can go into the code and you can modify it, and you can make your custom version of it. So it's specifically for your game. That's one advantage that other game engines don't have. And you don't really need to know a lot about making game engines in C++ to make these sort of changes. If you really need it, you can. And I like that more creators that are making regular projects are showing the capabilities of just going in and modifying it. But yeah, so if you want to watch the full video, yeah, please do. It's very interesting. And another one that was also interesting, but Arimus, which is 3 ways I manage data in Godot, which is for save files and things like that. And basically like not save files, but the database of your game, basically. And I really like this one because he has experience already publishing games, and many times I do see tutorials about these sort of things of how to manage data, but people never published anything before. So, you can be a little bit skeptic. I myself try to use things that are maybe more common in web development, but not so much for what a game needs. So in this video, he goes over different ways, pros and cons, and yeah, I think it was a good way of actually showcasing another aspect of the games. Okay, so those are community showcase and tutorials. We usually add things like that, and if you have any link that you think that it might fit in here, you can send it to our newsletter at godotengine.org, and we read those submissions. But if you want to help, you can also get in touch with me. But last 2 sections, which we have indie releases, tools. For indie releases, we basically cover many games that have been recently released in Godot. We've already seen one, which is Draftula, which was one of the winners. But yeah, Strange Jigsaws, which was the one that was featured on the how's it called, on the beta release, this one, beta 7. It's very interesting, very descriptive. A strange jigsaw, a game of strange jigsaws. Has very good reviews. 1,300 reviews, and everybody seems to be very happy about it. I was not able to play it yet, but I will. Kill the Music. This one I tried it a little bit. It was really nice. The game is basically a reading game with some roguelite elements, which everybody does now. But yeah, the art is beautiful. I really, really love the art on this one. If you have a moment to see this one. I don't know why the new videos are not loading. But yeah, let's see. Anyway, you can open the link. Planetary Life is the Spore in basically Spore 2. what Spore should have been, and it's very impressive. Like, there's a lot of systems in this game, and I really don't know how people do it. Oh, videos are working now. So let's see the chat. Okay, seems like there were no questions in the chat. Okay. Very, very relaxing music. The last game, The Real Writ, which I haven't seen too many people talk about it, but also looks super nice. A deck builder. It's not as popular as the other games, but yeah. How can my game have the Godot Creator review? So to get, let me see. To get this, basically it gets added by one of the list moderators, and then we add it to kind of like the links that we add there. We add the creator ID on the URL, which you don't see now, but basically we only add this made with Godot on it. I think this is managed primarily by Remy Akian, the project release manager of the engine, and he adds everything that he finds there. There's already 1,960 games. So yeah, is it made with Godot? Very simple very simple list. But okay, let's see. 4.5 tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow we have 4.5. Just trust me. Is it true that 4.6 will adopt passive star minimalist theme? Yes, that's true. And actually, we already started working on it. We hired someone at the foundation to work on editor improvements, and that's one of the items on the list. I think I would really like to have a better page, because on the foundation website, we don't have a lot of information about who is currently working in Godot. Let me open this here. Like, we do have like some information about, who we are, like who's behind the project, things like that, like the financial reports that we need to update now, the 2024 ones, how we work on that. But there's no place where you can see actually who is actually working on it, on in which area. And I think it would be very nice to have. So it's something for us to improve. But yeah, going back to the mailing list, which I will leave the link again. So if someone new joined, we're reviewing all this. We send a monthly newsletter, and we show things that happened in the project from our side, from the community side, some games that have been released, and some tools. Now let's go and see the tools. Godot Gravity Fields. So this is for Mario Galaxy-like gravity fields. And this is, of course, open source, MIT license. And yeah, you can basically add them to different shapes, and your movement moves there. Like, your movement is relative to that shape. So it's an interesting plugin that, it's one of those features that if you want to prototype something, having to deal with this part of it will be a big chunk of it. But if you're in a game jam and you want to try it out quick, it's a good idea to use an existing solution. Then Oscillody, which is the description is very cumbersome. Oscilloscope-based audio visualizer, but I think if you see a video about it, you will understand. On their website here, like on the HIO, they have a video about what it does, and it's to generate this sort of visualizations. So it looks very fancy. So if you have a song or anything like that, or maybe a podcast that you want to have like something to upload to YouTube, and yeah, this is a tool built in Godot. So yeah, you have the code here as well. It's GPL license, so you can use it, but your code also has to be released as open source. And yeah, it's quite nice. Behave is an absolute classic. Another plugin that I've seen used many times, done by BitBrain. This basically makes it very easy. You have a lot of nodes that you can drop and to program the kind of behaviors for your non-player characters. It has this very awesome view, honestly, like, to have a better idea of what actions are being considered or taken. And I think that's very high quality plugin for Godot. And yeah, it's not new. Like, we've seen this plugin for a long time. Like, how many releases? Like 41 releases, but they haven't been showcased yet on the newsletter, so I wanted to add them. And yeah, very good. The official wiki, everything, like, they have a lot of information and everything, and the presentation is incredible. So if you are looking for making something that the NPCs are not just boring automatas, you want to make them a little bit more exciting, this is the plugin to use. And Shapify, which is like a program to make sort of like shape-based renditions of images. This is not like an AI sort of like ChatGPT, like throwing up some pixels, but yeah, I think it's quite interesting. You can see the progress of different shapes. It's also built in Godot, and you can do like animations with it and many other graphics. I think it's fine. Um, like on those examples, it's like you know a little bit more generic, but if you have something in mind that you want to use, for at least how I use this sort of effects is when I'm using like an image, a photo as a placeholder on a visual novel game, and you want to have kind of like the style on the background but not make an asset. You can have just a photo that you find, you add this sort of style, and you have it as a very good placeholder. But I don't know who would use something like this on a project, because it's always going to downgrade the image into different shapes. But it's very interesting, and also open source, MIT licensed, and yeah, on GDScript, so you can also contribute to it if you want it. And after adding all those links, which are a lot, we take some funny posts from Reddit or something like that. This one was a classic for a time. Every time I open Reddit, I saw it, which is someone that basically printed this to have it next to their desk and not having to look it up. I have to be honest, like some of these I do have to look every time I need them, especially all the exports. I think if I did the version of this for me, I would add all the export hints to make sure I know them. But yeah, it's quite nice to have it as a reference. And here's the original post on Reddit. But yeah, for the next one, we should have it at the end of September. Again, if you want to help us, this time we had contributions from Kay and Winner Wind. These are their websites. You can visit them there. And yeah, you can subscribe on the link at the top, or on the web archive, you can see the previous entries for each month. Okay, let's see if we have any questions around. Let's see also. Where were it? Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Are there any plans to add area lights or rect lights to Godot? That would be very useful for ArcViz. I don't know what ArcViz is, but I also don't know if there's any plans for area lights or rect lights. The best way to check if there's any plans is to check if there's a proposal about it, and if someone from the maintainer team have been working on it. This architecture visualization. Okay. Yeah, no, I think for architectural visualization, Blender would be the best tool here. I don't think that you would be using Godot, but I can be wrong. Maybe in the future this is something that happens. But yeah, okay. Patrick says there is a PR for area lights. Okay, but before seeing a PR, it's good to know if there's actually someone that said like, I will be working on this, and this is kind of accepted by the rendering team. Well, I see that the chat is cut out. Maybe I can make it taller. Let me modify that maybe now real quick, because if not, I will forget. Let's do 800, maybe there. Oof, it's too bright. Okay, anyway, I can change that later. Okay. Okay. Area lights PR is fire. Let's. Anyone has the link for the area lights? We can watch it and go over what things I look for. Add area light. I have it here. Is it this one? Oh, wait. Add area light node 3D to render real time. Okay. So I think it's this one, right? So there seems to be some interest, but I don't see it being like approved or reviewed by anyone. I don't know. Oh, my bad. I had it closed. I see this PR being here, but I don't see it being like added by any team or like reviewed by anyone. And oh no, it's the one I linked. I don't see it. Yeah, rectangular light area source. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, no, we don't have any physics maintainer, and we don't have also a rendering maintainer on the foundation. But we are interviewing someone this week. Um, wait, this is actually what I need. So it seems like people do want this one. Has been triaged already. Wow, it's quite huge. 2,500 lines. Tejon is working in Godot, but he's not hired by the foundation. He works for W4 Games, so he's the rendering team lead, but he's very busy with other work as well. So we want to hire someone at the foundation that can dedicate their full time on working in rendering features. We've seen a lot of issues in lately with Vulkan that we would like to fix, and also um, having more uh, support for the other rendering devices. So like the other rendering backends. So we've seen that it seems like Direct 3D12 is it's working better. Like DirectX is working better in Windows. And Vulkan recently, we had this update from AMD drivers that broke everything. That was not ideal, and it took a long time for them to find it and to address it. I think it's coming out soon, like a fix for it. So like a good solution is to use DirectX on Windows, and the same we had before with the NVIDIA drivers. If you were on Reddit, you might remember everybody opening a thread saying that their graphics were a little bit weird, and that was the drivers from NVIDIA. So ideally, we would use by default Metal on Mac, Vulkan on Linux, and then DirectX on Windows. So for doing all that, we need someone that can actually review this sort of PRs, work on this sort of area. And for a long time, we've been kind of like hoping that we would get more contributions, but we need to hire someone that can actually dedicate their time. So this one is quite popular, so it might make it. I don't know exactly what might be stopping it. I see there's a lot of discussion already, but seems promising. Um, I I don't see it being like reviewed at the moment by the rendering team, so of course it needs to be accepted by their team before it comes in. This is the proposal, yeah. Okay. Drivers are a lot of the times the culprit of rendering issues, it seems. Yes, and it, you know, I think also we need to improve our Vulkan renderer, but still, like we cannot really control. We are a very tiny player for these drivers companies to care about. So whenever there's a big game, they release a new patch that fixes the issues that this new AAA game will have. But for Godot, usually it's not their biggest priority. I think it will change with time, like when we have more and more games that are basically, doing 3D stuff. But for now, like we do need to have that. And that's another reason why I think we should show who's actually hired by the foundation and what they're working on, so the community can know, because might be very easy for me to know, but a bit tricky for people to know that Clay, even if he's working a long time and a lot of hours on rendering, he's not a full-time developer for rendering. So yeah, let's see. Does anyone know if there's any work being done on MIDI out? I don't think there is. Audio is one of the areas where we don't have a lot of contributions. Yeah, there's probably a plugin for it. I'm sure there's a plugin for it, but natively, I don't think so. But yeah, I wanted to answer a question from before. Like, somebody asked if there were news about the asset store. I wanted to say that we added recently a change log that you can check on the website. If you open it, here is the link to the change log, and then you can see like which are the things that we changed, as the name implies, because we did a lot of and there's a lot of them missing, but we did a lot of updates, and it's kind of hard to know what things are changing. But we checking on the numbers from the poll and checking on how many people are using the new one, we are gonna start preparing for deprecating the asset library. So the asset library is, let me see, let me go to the, the Chinese one. Assets. Okay. This is the old asset library that everybody opens on their editor and stuff like that. And we're gonna start adding a banner here telling people to start using the asset store, which, you know, should have the same and even more features than the asset library has currently already. But eventually, maybe in 2 or 3 more iterations, we are gonna stop accepting new assets here, and we're only gonna be accepting updates, and we're gonna redirect everyone to get their assets from here. And also, this person that we hired to work on the Passive Star theme update, he will also be working on implementing the asset store view, replacing the current asset library tab inside the editor. We've seen that the last 3 versions of Godot are the ones that are getting like 90-something% of users. So if we start replacing the asset store, like the asset library tab, in 4.6, maybe in 4.8 or 9, everybody already changed, and that should be the end of the beloved asset library, which, you know, it's been very useful for a long time, but we need more features that the system unfortunately cannot host. And I think it will be a great time also for revisiting how the flow of, you know, installing the assets inside of the editor works, and all those other features that we want to add. And this is something I really tried to fix. Like this one, the asset library code, it's really, let's say, complicated. It's open source here, so if you want to try for yourself to see if you can make any sort of improvements to it, you will quickly realize how spaghetti everything is, unfortunately. Yeah, so we're at a point where now I think the asset store is good enough. I think it's already better than the asset library, so it's only a matter of time until we start replacing it. Yeah, if you want to see the latest changes here. Also, we have a roadmap where we explain all the features that we want added, and the major items, like for instance, you know, asset analytics, they do have an issue linked to them that you can go in and write whatever comment you want. So any feedback is welcome. Let's see if I missed any questions. What is the most likely add-on to be pulled into the Godot code base proper, and why isn't it Terrain 3D? For Terrain, I think it's quite nice that we do have a different set of Terrain editors that people use. If we ship one by default, the same thing that we have with the tile map editor might happen. Like your game might have very different needs in terms of how you want to do terrain. If you see here, this one is, you know, has a lot of opinions in terms of like how you're gonna be shaping that terrain and how you're gonna be adding nodes or instance to it, and that might not be the one that you need for your game. So telling everybody how they should use it feels not ideal. And since there's already plugins that are very good to, to be using, I think it would just increase the burden on us to maintain it and try to make something that for a very, very big amount of games, it will just not be good enough. But yeah, I think I answered this one already, but maybe we should have a longer explanation, maybe on the blog post. And for things that might make it in, well, we've been talking about the passive star theme, right? So that one is a plugin that will make it in. So yeah. I think the asset store will give a massive incentive for users to switch to. Yeah, I hope so. I know of a lot of companies that used to do Unity or Unreal tools, and they are just waiting for us to release the paid assets to start working on their own solutions for Godot. So yeah, I think that there will be also a lot more people, publishing once it's already inside the editor. I feel like people like it now, and they come and visit the site, but if it's not inside the editor, people will not really care. Okay. Let's see. If a popular terrain add-on gets abandoned, then it will hurt more Godot devs. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, it's hard to, there's so many areas in which we don't have a maintainer working full time for the foundation, that if we start adding more and more burden to the current developers, like, we are just not going to be able to do everything. So with more funding, we would be able to add more people, and with more people, we can commit to support more things. But unfortunately, at the moment, it's whatever we can afford. That's why some areas like audio don't have anyone yet, right? Like, it's important. It kind of works. There's some features that are not ideal, but I would love to have someone that works full time in audio. But then when you have issues with the rendering, when you have issues with the exports, when you have issues with different platforms changing their rules all the time, you need to have, to keep everything up to date. And yeah, it might not be as impactful, even if it's something that, eventually needs to get addressed. With physics, we were very lucky to use Jolt, kind of like as a future proofing library, that it's more battle tested. But it was similar. Like, it was hard to find someone that could work on physics. And yeah. Okay. But now it can be updated by the community or a person who can improve it. Yeah. Almost all of these plugins that I've been showcasing now, like this one, I also really like. The name is a little bit unfortunate, but Cogito, I guess. And this one, it's a great plugin, and it has. If you're making a first-person game for a jam, you should use this one. Like, it already includes so many features that you would need to code, as you can see in the video. Like, it really is. Oh, I'm here talking. Sorry, I need to up my OBS game. So this is the plugin I was talking about. You can interact with objects. You can already have like an inventory of sorts, like opening panels. Like, it's a very good template. And this one is MIT. So on the website, you can view source and you can contribute to it. There's 24 people that decided to contribute to this one. So it's not only that, and this also is even easier than contributing to Godot itself, because there might be more releases of a plugin than the releases that we can make. And as soon as we include something in Godot, you will have to wait until the next release it's out there to get all those fixes or issues. So I think plugins in some areas makes more sense than having it in built-in Godot. But I understand a lot of people prefer um, I understand a lot of people would prefer to download Godot and not having to think about anything else. But that's why we want to add an option to add global add-ons. So every time you create a project, the add-on will be, present in that project as well. That way you don't have to reinstall it in every project. I think that will make it a little bit more similar into having it inside of like your base Godot experience. But yeah, I think I would prefer Godot itself to be as clean as possible and make the plugins the best they can be. And that's why the asset store is also important. Okay, so I think, oh my God, like time flew by. It's already time to be finishing here. So I can take a few more questions if you want, and then we finish it off. And next week, I'm not sure if I will be here. I need to update everyone on this because I might be traveling next week and the other week as well. There's the Blender conference in 2 weeks, and there's another conference next week. But if I don't do the streams on Tuesday, I will do it on another day of the week, or maybe in 2 weeks' time whenever we release 4.6. So yeah. We want the TV fixed next time. Yes, I need to fix it. I will see what I can do. If not, I can leave like the white noise, which is always kind of, yeah, there. That's kind of maybe more intriguing. But yeah. Yeah, it will be fixed in stream. I think it was the adapter that I used for getting HDMI to the old Euro connector. I don't know the name in English. But yeah. All right. If you have any last questions, now is the time to ask. Let's see. Do I have a big bug? I noticed in the B4.4 it's of articles material 2D. Will I wait for it to be fixed in 4.6 release, or should I report a bug issue in the dev community? So you should always report the bug or find if it already exists. Yeah, Trickster came in with a very good answer. Yeah, Euroconnector. I have come back to my master system time. Yes. What's your favorite feature of 4.5? That's a good question. I think it's maybe, yeah, maybe it's not one of the most impactful ones, but for making tutorials and stuff like that, before I try to do some tutorials also in Spanish, so being able to change the language of the editor without having to reboot was quite nice. And also those tools that you can use to preview the translations inside the editor, I think that's coming in 4.5. But honestly, I'm not sure which one would be my favorite one. I've been making 2D games on the weekends, and I see that there's a lot of things that I would like to improve already. But it's not that I'm waiting for any feature. Like every time I need something, I can make a tool and make it fix the need I have. So yeah, it would be nice also like to review and try them out. The release page should include a lot of examples that are quite nice. Let me see if I can open it real quick before closing. website. I'm gonna change now. Like, let's see. So again, let's preview. How is this? Problem is, I am already thinking about features for 4.6. That's where my head is. But let's see the release page. It's loading very slow. So let's see, where is it? Internalization light preview. This one. Yeah, this one I really, really liked. Basically having like a menu that you have a drop down and then you can select like which language to preview. If you're working in a few languages, this one is really, really good. This is not the last version though. Like I think there were some fixes, but yeah, it might not be as flashy as the other ones, but yeah, having to press play every time to see how it looks and changing from the settings, the locale to override and all that, it was very cumbersome. But I know that this might be very niche for me. 2D or 3D, which is going to be prioritized more in 4.5, 4.6? I think there's a lot of stuff to do in 3D, and the prioritization would be also more into optimizing and improving the things that already exist. So you can expect more things like this, right? Like the chunk system for the tile map, more things that are just making whatever features exist better instead of new features. But yeah, this looks very, very long already. Like there's so many things. We need to make more videos on these ones if we want to release the page and not be very boring. So yeah. This one is also, this looks very, very good. The stencil buffer support. I have no clue how to use this, but Passive Star always making very nice demos. So yeah. Okay. Well, I think I will be leaving everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments, questions, everything. I hate to always answer I don't know, but many things I don't know. I hope I can cover more of the changes when they happen. And with time also be more on top of all the new developments. I wanted to leave this here, which is the Godot Tomorrow forum post where you can leave questions and I will address them in the next stream. Again, I don't know if I will be next week, but I will leave a message on the forum post as well. Thank you for coming, and see you the next one. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Bye.